right, Jerry Mason, Kickin Lawyer. We're here on another Law Talk. Appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to watch or listen, depending on your format. As always, I want to remind you to like, follow, subscribe to the content. We're on all social media platforms, podcast platforms, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, and, of course, TikTok. We've got a pretty good following over there on TikTok. You can go over there for legal direction and fun and dancing. And then, of course, we want you to download the free album Inside My Head by the local band N.A. The Band. They are performing at the 51 country music thing they're doing next month, so check those guys out. And then Michelle Allen's been a longtime sponsor of our show. She's a local realtor in the area. Also on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce, so she's real well connected. So reach out to her if you're trying to buy, sell, rent, lease real estate. If you want to learn to kick people in the face, we have 2 locations for you in Covington and in Millington. You can visit masonsmartialarts.com, try some free lessons. We do all kinds of kicking and punching, lots of fun. And then, of course, the new business I have is Jam Books and Records, located on the square here in Covington. New and used books, records, comics, T-shirts, a bunch of stuff. Just come check us out. It's a lot of fun. And if you need help with online promotions, branding, marketing, Josh will help you, masonitedigitalmarketing.com. And then joining me today is sort of that field. He works in TV, and I'll let you tell a little more about himself. Is Mr. Austin Kiernan. Austin Kiernan. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir. Okay. You got it.
And from now on, I'll just say Austin. It'll be easier.
Sounds like a plan.
So how's it going?
Fantastic. I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah. You're an interesting fellow, man. You came in to say hi. And I'm sure you're eventually wanting me to buy some stuff. But at the same time, I appreciate it. You seemed to genuinely... And you did one thing good, whether it was sales or not. I would say this for everybody watching. It's always good to do research and know who you're talking to.
Right.
Especially people like me that probably have a big ego. And it's always good to have done some market research. So, but why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, what you do, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm Austin Kiernan, born and raised Senatobia area. Mm-hmm. My mom got a boyfriend. We moved up to Millington. So I've been around there since about 2007, Millington, Tipton County area.
Yeah.
We've moved around. We've lived in Munford, Drummond's, Atoka. So I'm pretty familiar with this whole area, and it's been my home for most of my life.
Did you go to Millington High?
I went to Millington High for 9th grade.
Mm-hmm.
We moved up to Munford, and I did the rest of my high school years there.
So you consider yourself a cougar?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I won't hold that against you. It's okay. So, and then what do you do?
So I'm in TV advertising. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing that for about 2 years now. Mm-hmm. Since April, I've been actually selling the TV ad spots and online billboards and streaming advertisements, stuff like that. I've been doing the sales itself for about 3 months. But before that, I was mostly just putting the orders in, all the internal orders and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. So I mentioned this briefly, I think, when we first met, whenever it was a couple weeks ago. I did a speaking engagement for DUI DLA a few years back at their national convention. Mm-hmm. DUI, it's a DUI, driving under the influence. Right. DLA is the Defense Lawyers Association. So it's lawyers like me that do a lot of DUIs. Anyway. And what I did was I talked on marketing. Mm-hmm. And in the presentation, I ended up doing some research, but they sort of knew of me because, the whole Kickin Lawyer thing and all these other businesses are all, I tell people a lot, I think I'm a good lawyer, but I'm a great marketer. Anyway, in the presentation, I sort of went over TV, in my opinions at least, on TV, mm-hmm. advertising, newspaper, billboards, social media, all the different options you have now to do marketing. So do this, since you pushing the TV ads, streaming ads, etc. So what do you feel is the biggest benefit to a business to do television advertising in 2024?
The reach, really. As we all know, digital is king mm-hmm. nowadays. And as it goes, same with how newspaper was and radio back in the day. Some things get phased out mm-hmm. as new mediums come about. But the Memphis area is really big on TV. We have a population that still watches TV a lot. Mm-hmm. So the 4 or so big TV stations still do pretty well mm-hmm. in the market. So the Memphis DMA includes like Tipton County, Lauderdale County, down there towards Senatobia and Tunica and everyone. And they all still watch a lot of TV. Mm-hmm. So we can get a broad reach through TV, like, because our channel reaches all those people. So you can get a broad reach if you do it on the television station, but if you do it on like the website, you can get more specific with like the zip codes and demographics and everything. So you can go from a large pool of people on TV to a very small group of people on digital and online. And OTT is over the top television, meaning that is the streaming, right? And we can also target through streaming as well. So really, we're like a marketing agency that also has a television station. Right.
Well, walk me through this. So let me just tell you, our demographic is all my businesses are a little different. Well, let's just say my martial arts business. So my focus there is families. It's mostly families, maybe, I don't know, 29 to 50, something like that, age group, parents with younger children that may be interested in enrolling them. So if I said that's my demographic, are you able to target through the streaming marketing or however that specific group? So and so then further, my second part of that question is, how does that work? Is it targeted to where, okay, on streaming they're watching daytime dramas, so we know that's this market, so then they get those ads specifically, sort of different than TV where it's just whatever's on the TV. On the streaming, is that I just don't understand.
No,
I'm asking.
of course.
So on the streaming, is the ad that's pushed not universal and based on the market, or is it kind of like old school TV where that ad is on like the daytime personal injury lawyers that are on the car wreck shows? Like daytime TV traditionally has all these car wreck lawyers, but that's targeting a lot of older people that are doing slip and falls and stuff. So you kind of see what I'm asking? Like, what's the difference, and does it push my ad specifically to them?
Right. So I believe it gets information from like public information, like the census and stuff like that, like for households, like having however many kids, however many dependents. So if it has children in the household, then it's more likely a family. So therefore, they'll start pushing those advertisements toward a household that has a family. And it also something called retargeting, meaning if they saw your ad on like a pre-roll ad, like before an article video on our website, if they clicked that, then they could also be retargeted back, like meaning they would also get served more advertisements.
Yeah, because they looked at it, so that means they may be interested.
Yeah, exactly. The algorithm gets a hold of them, and then they start getting pushed advertisements that revolve around something that they're interested in or something that the algorithm might think that they'd be interested in.
Well, tell me about the streaming, though. So when you say streaming, what I think as a potential customer is like, by the way, that's all I do. My house, all I have personally is all the different apps, so that's what I'm thinking about is, I've got Hulu. And so I pay to not get the ads, but if I had the ads, is that what we're talking about? Yeah. Okay.
That's it. The ads that play before and maybe during a TV show or a movie.
Gotcha. Yeah, one of them, I watch Perry Mason all the time. No shocker. The old school Perry Mason. And one of them still rolls some ads when I'm watching that. But okay, so then that could target your ads.
Right.
And then when you say website, I'm asking you all this too because
you're good.
I know eventually we would talk about if I'm ever going to be a customer, which I told you I probably would. But like I said, I'm open with folks about all my stuff, honestly.
Of course.
And we're rolling things back a little bit this year because we really downsized our law firm. But I have all these other businesses that I'm open to growing, like especially my bookstore. With it being new, I want to get the word out there. Anyway, so when you say website, to me that means it's like banners and ad spots on the television site that you would go to online, the .com.
Right.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and then there's and then pre-roll is like a 15-second ad spot that would play like before, like
something they would watch on that site. They watched instead of watching it on the television broadcast, they watched like playback on the internet.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
you. Okay, and I have seen those. Now those I have watched because anytime I get interviewed for cases, I like to watch myself back. So
of course, hey, the ego, right?
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I say I'm kidding, but it's true.
Yeah, of course. we all would.
Yeah. But I typically, if I go, I tell you what I look for a lot on the traditional Memphis stations is the weather.
Oh, yeah.
Like if there's something coming up, because I do not have the standard stations anymore, the 3, 5, 13, whatever it was. I don't have those on my TV.
I actually use the major station apps over the traditional weather app on my phone. I don't know why. Just to me, they're better.
Well, I think that I will say this we won't go into which one he's with. I guess we could just say you're with a Memphis station, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I think all of them have better. I mean, obviously they have better local weather service than if you go to like the national. I think
Exactly.
the national weather station. So I always, when the weather gets bad, go and look at the local.
Yeah,
station.
me too. Even before I started working at any of the stations, I would always have that up, and then I'd get notifications up.
So on a slight change of topic there, how'd you get into doing this? Is this like what you always wanted to do, or how did you get this direction?
No, I'd never really. I had no idea what career field I was going to go in. Like a lot of kids my age.
How old are you? Mind me asking?
Yeah, I'll be 26 in September.
Okay, so you're still young.
Yeah.
I mean, you're grown, but that's young still.
Yeah, still trying to fill in my shoes. You know what I mean?
I didn't go to law school till I was 31 or 2.
Really.
Yeah, and so like I didn't know what I wanted to be, and still I change up all the time.
Yeah, so you got your hand in a lot of jars.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But yeah, so I got my degree from Memphis. I went to Dyersburg State first 2 years, of course, to get the free,
Smart.
Free tuition. Which I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah,
I don't care.
It's very smart.
I don't care about the stigma with oh, it's a community college. It's the same degree, and it was a fantastic college.
Yeah.
So there's no shame in it. And then I just moved over to University of Memphis for my four-year degree, and I really just went like, what am I? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And then I was going to do business IT. And then I would have had to take like 8 coding classes in like one semester. And I was like, I ain't that smart. So I'm going to switch it over to marketing and just talk about the things that I like, rather than like maybe creating the things that I like. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always been a big video game tech guy, and I've always wanted to maybe work at like Sony or Microsoft or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You sound like Josh over there.
I'm a big gamer nerd.
Josh, you want to work for Disney, right?
Negative.
Big Mouse?
Yeah.
I want to work for a big film studio, but that one's probably the bottom of the list.
Oh, no.
You could write the ship, though. You could change
You could switch it up.
Somebody needs to.
You could put on the ears, man.
Yeah, no, somebody needs to correct course that failing company.
Oh, no.
So you got your degree in marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then I switched over, did marketing, so I could also graduate within a decent amount of time instead of doing a bunch of hard computer classes.
Yeah.
I like computers, but I don't know too much about things beyond like the GPU and stuff like that. I don't know how to code.
Yeah.
And it's just an entirely different language. It's called coding languages, right?
What'd you do in high school? Were you good at math or science, or what'd you do?
I was all right. I mean,
did you do any of the like sports?
Yeah. No, I did Millington SYS.
What is that?
That's the local Millington, like no school. It's like just the Millington football. Like I was in like middle school. I did that for like 5 months, and then I cried.
Yeah, well, here's why I ask. Like it's interesting to me that you mentioned like you think there's some negative connotation with community college.
Right.
So let me just tell you this real quick. So back about a month ago, I've done now. Well, this is the first year I did it. There's a local guy. I'll introduce you to him if you don't know him. He'll definitely be a customer. Ed Doyle. Dude owns they own like 27 car dealerships. So
right.
Express Chevrolet. He's
him?
Yeah, that's him. Real nice guy, and I've sort of looked to him sort of as a mentor for myself because he's a little older than me and a little further ahead on the business stuff. In any event, so he asked me. This guy came in like a tornado to our community, okay? And initially, I was very doubtful about his motives. And I'm cool with people that come and do things that are going to then turn around and benefit their businesses, like sort of indirectly benefit them personally. Right. But he was doing so much, it just seemed like it couldn't be real. Like he was starting like a church under the tree thing that he funded, where on Sundays everybody would go meet under a tree, homeless people, drug addicts, whoever, and he'd feed them all and preach to them. And then he was doing this scholarship thing he started, and I finally jumped on that and did a scholarship. Anyway, I'm telling you a whole lot about him like I'm fanboying, but I've come to – there are still people that I think just maybe jealous, I don't know, but I think he's genuinely trying to do good stuff in the community. Right. And regardless of the motive, he is. You know, he's definitely facilitating good stuff. So this scholarship thing he does, which would be an awesome thing to cover too, maybe even the media, is he he gives a car away every year to a senior. They have to hit a certain ACT score, and then there are multiple businesses now that, coupled with that, have offered scholarship money that these kids can get too. So all these different kids can get scholarships. And so my point was this, though.
Yeah.
I did a $1,500 scholarship, and so we went and had the drawing, and each of us got to come up and just briefly say something when we draw the kid that gets the name. And what I said was I just wanted to make sure that the kid that got like a 21 on the ACT wasn't thinking, oh, I'm an idiot or I'm stupid and I can't, because I got a 22, and I said most of the kids that got 30s work for me now. So my point was, and I went to Dyersburg State.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. The thing that pisses me off in general about certain things in society is people get this idea that, oh, I spent a bunch of money on education, or my daddy's a judge, or my mama's a doctor, or whatever, that somehow they're better or better suited to be successful in life than other people. And I genuinely believe that because I did it, that if you bust your rear end, that is the number one quality needed, hard work and perseverance to be successful. And you can outwork ignorance. You can outwork wherever your station is in life. I think you can outwork racial prejudice. I think you can outwork just about anything if you'll put your mind to it. And you do just like you did. I went to Dyersburg State. I, matter of fact, flunked out of algebra in Dyersburg State, and then had a kid, this was 18, 19, had a kid born, had to be a daddy, didn't know who I was, didn't know how to write a check, like I remember things like that. And then fast forward, have a martial arts school, did karate my whole life, I didn't do college. I dropped out to do taekwondo, run my martial arts business, and then eventually became a law enforcement officer. This is before they required any college degree. Fast forward in my 30s, I decided I want to be a lawyer. And look, I vividly remember a guy that thinks like some of this I'm discussing, who was a lawyer, and I looked up to at the time, and I went to him. This is one of the best things he probably could have done for me. He was a local guy I knew, and I went up and I was a cop at the time and had no degree. And I was talking to him about, what was I asking him? I forget specifically what it was. Some question about law school. And he made the comment of, oh, well, who's your professor in constitutional law? And I was like, oh, I'm not in law school yet. He was like, you're not in law school? I was like, no. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get into law school. He said, what's your degree in? I said, well, I don't have a degree yet. I said, I'm going to get my degree and then I'm going to go to law school. He laughed in my face.
Wow. And
was like, you're almost 30 and you're just now starting and you think you're going to be able to become an attorney? Like he was a lawyer.
Right.
That I respected. And I was like, oh. So then my goal from that day for literally a decade was to get a license in law and destroy him in court. Destroy this guy who thought that he was better than me and that I didn't have a chance to. And I did it. I did it twice. I beat the guy twice in court. Yeah. And now it's fine. Like I don't hold anything against him. He took a good ass whipping. But my point is like, there was the only difference at the time between me and this guy I'm talking about is this guy was born into money. His position was better than mine was, but there's still opportunities that you can take advantage of if you work real hard. So
absolutely.
I know I got on a big long tangent, but don't ever feel bad about, oh, I went to Dyersburg State. Man, that's great. That shows you got initiative.
Exactly.
You bettered yourself, your position. You figured out something you wanted to do.
You probably have significantly less debt.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Part of the reason that I asked, just to tie it up, part of the reason I had asked you what you did in earlier in school is you're very personable. So like you definitely have potential as a salesperson in whatever you're doing, whether it's this or something else.
Right.
But I think you remind me some of my ability. I run my mouth pretty good. And I typically am relatively liked, I think. Like, people have natural charisma. You have a natural charisma. You're good at talking. Those are all things that can open a lot of doors for you. And I think it's wise when you know your strengths and then you target what your goals are in life, sort of with your strengths. So, like, I knew that I wasn't good at math and science.
Right.
So I knew that being a doctor was probably not in the cards for me. It's kind of like you said with the coding. I probably could have done it. You probably could have done it.
Right.
But I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it, and it'd probably been hard.
Exactly.
And I enjoy being a lawyer, enjoy running my mouth. I'm good at it. So anyway, kudos to going to Dyersburg State, but don't ever feel like, here's what I would be like. These people sitting around and got these like $400,000 degrees from these Ivy League schools.
Crazy.
It's like when I went to Memphis Law School, my undergrad, part of it was Dyersburg State.
Yeah.
Part of it was Bethel online.
Really?
Bethel College in McKenzie online.
Yeah.
My bachelor's is an online degree. And then I go to the Memphis Law School, and I'm sitting with these people that, went to Vanderbilt and all these fancy schools. And I remember the first day of law school, the guys they got this presentation, and they're showing the number of students from this school, the number of students from this school. And the very last school is Bethelton's one. It was me. I was the only one. But, when I got that degree, that doctorate from the law school, it's the same as this dude that went to Vanderbilt.
Paper, man.
It's the same as this
piece
guy.
Of paper.
So, yeah, man, I think I was wise on what I did.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't wait to go to Dyersburg State.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
I mean, I did dual enrollment classes with Miss Tyler. A lot of people might know her. She was the English college prep teacher, and then she teaches English, and literature for all the other grades.
I'm way older than you, so the people that I had probably retired. They might have retired because of me. I don't know. But, yeah, my son's going.
Really?
My youngest son is going to do 2 years there and then figure out what he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's smart.
That's what I did. Yeah, and then I loved every second over there.
So now that you've been doing the ads and stuff, you've been having good reach here, been getting in the community pretty good.
Yeah, that's the biggest part for me. I love what I do, and I love the station I'm at. But, with anything, you don't know where you're going to be in 15 years.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So this is really a tool that I'm using also for the reach and to be able to meet people like you and meet people like, all the members of the chamber and everything.
Have you joined the chamber yet, the local chamber?
I haven't. I met C.H. Sullivan, and I met Terry Rowland in Millington, and I'm supposed to meet Mr. Dwayne Cole up in Munford, but I haven't joined.
So I was the past president of the chamber, and actually I roll off Friday. We had an executive board meeting this morning because I'm still on the executive board, and then Friday I roll off and I'm done until whatever later. I'm trying to not do any more boards for a while, but I will say that the chamber is a good first start for people that are coming into a community because one, they will help push your stuff some, but people misunderstand the purpose of a chamber of commerce. The purpose isn't to market your business, but they will help provide you with tools to network and grow your business. And the chamber has these third Thursday things that I would recommend you try to attend.
Like the past one was at Buff City.
You don't have to be a member even to come.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was.
To the public.
Just go. And then they usually let you run your mouth for a second or just go around and meet people. And those are real good opportunities to open doors.
It's super cool. Man, networking is, I want to be like a sponge. You know what I mean? I kind of look like one, but, I'm trying to be one. You know what I'm saying?
So let me tell you something I used to do. This is, you can stop me at any point, but I enjoy all this stuff. When I first started as a lawyer, even though I was born and raised here, I wasn't really known as the lawyer guy in the community. So this is something I learned from another lawyer, an older dude, years ago. Now, you don't have to do this exact method. I'm sure there's a digital version, but I still have it sitting in here. Matter of fact, I can grab it and show you in a minute. What I would do in the very beginning is everybody I met when I got a business card or something, I'd take the business card and I created an index card, put it on there, and I'd write something to help me remember something about them. Like this guy likes Corvettes, like met him at Buff City or whatever. And then what I do is I have them stacked, and I had them I had one alphabetized, and I had an identical one, either where I just wrote the stuff in by work, trade, whatever, what they were, right? So then I would use it two ways. The first way is every week I would pull a card out of the thing. The guy likes, again, let's say it's a guy likes Corvettes. I would look up some ad on Corvettes or article on Corvettes online, print it out, and say, hey, I just saw this, made me think of you, just wanted to say, hey, nice to meet you, send it to them, right? Then I put it in the back of my stack of cards. So every week I'm building this rapport with these people, not asking them for anything, just showing them I'm thinking about them and I remembered them, right? The second way I used it is the second one was when I had clients come in and they did a haircut. Oh, beautician or whatever, cosmet, I'd pull it up. Well, I'm going to send you to this person. I know them, and then tell them I sent you. And then I'm building that network like that, right? So in the beginning, that was very effective for me to reach more people quickly. So anyway, as you do it, just for people watching, I still recommend that you do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate it. I'm trying to take all the advice that I can get, you know, because I love meeting people. You know what I mean? For me, of course, as a salesman, whatever, money first, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If I get a sale out of something, that's a bonus. The first thing I like to do is meet and just be personable, like you said, and be genuine with everybody. Because no one wants someone just calling up, being like, "Hey, I want to sell you some ad space." I want to meet you. Even people that said no, I don't want to do any business, I still say, "Can I please go out, take you out to like a lunch or something?" You know what I mean? Because I want to meet you. I want to get to know you. I want to get to know all the members of the community. Sure. Because even when, businesses come and go, you know what I mean? Careers change. Those people are still going to be in the community usually. and you'll always have ties to them in some way or another.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, and that's why it's important, like you said, to be genuine and not try to screw people over.
Right.
Especially if you're planning to stay in that community. I told a guy earlier today, I basically told him he didn't need to hire me. And he was like, I've never had a lawyer try to not take my money. And
Right.
I was like, well, the thing is, I plan to be here. So if I screw anybody over, especially intentionally, that gets out. But if
Right.
you really try to do people right, that gets out too. But
Yeah.
I like what you said, though, about even if they don't buy from me, I'm still trying to be there and build that relationship, because just like me, I may not buy immediately, but I know everybody.
Right.
You know, and I'm telling you right now already, Ed would be a great customer for you. Honestly, probably one of your biggest customers. And so that's a contact that you got indirectly, even though I may not be the, you know what I mean, the customer. So I
Right.
think that's a really good attitude to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So changing another topic, I was fixing to say, Josh, you'll like this. I was going to say, so Trump or Biden?
Oh damn. Oh damn. I don't.
We got the we got on
RFK.
I tell you what, I am interested. You don't have to talk about and that's cool too. I like RFK. We don't have to talk about that, but I do have a question. This is more generational.
Yeah.
Well, let me back up and ask you this question, and I might have asked you last time. Do you know who Perry Mason is?
I mean, I've heard the name, but I don't. I'm not exactly
You
familiar.
never seen the show or none of that?
Was it something on? Was it on like Me TV?
It probably is now.
Me TV.
Here's
yeah.
why I ask, because I'm 45, right? And I grew up with like the pinnacle, at least TV lawyer was I always heard was Perry Mason, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't get compared at the time but my name's Jerry Mason, and now what's interesting is people 30 or under don't know who Perry Mason is. Matter of fact, when I say Perry, what they say is the platypus. They talk about some platypus.
Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Right.
See, it's a generational gap there.
Man, you don't know Perry the Platypus?
No, I
Best
don't.
detective around.
No idea. Josh, do you know?
Yeah, I'm aware of Perry the Platypus. but
Absolutely.
I'm also 10 years younger than you, so.
Yeah. But here's my question.
Yeah.
So, what is your view? And this is not really necessarily to get political, but just as a young man, what is your view on like the international front here of, do you feel like there's a risk on our economy or World War III? Or is there any of that kind of concern for a 26-year-old?
Man, I don't know about. I mean, there's always talks. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, how we're, not to get too political, but we're funding everybody's wars, but we're not directly a part of it. And I don't know if that has effects on our economy. I don't know. I'm an economist. I don't know. I'll notice if, toilet paper goes up. People start taking it off the shelves again like they did in 2020.
COVID.
Right. But the economy around here, in terms of like businesses and stuff, is popping. But I don't know if that's just the blue oval effect.
I think there is some blue oval residual from
Yeah, because, all the 20,000, strip malls that are opening up in Millington.
Yeah.
And, I mean, things are looking maybe a little bleak nationally, but locally, I'm really optimistic at where everything's going, in terms of Tipton County.
Yeah, I think I have said this before. We're a little insulated from some of the economic issues because of the Blue Oval investment, I think. But at the same time, if there's World War III, that's not going to make a difference.
Yeah, Ford ain't going to protect us.
I don't know. They might. It's a big investment.
Who knows? Hey, it might be. They might be making a big mech over there,
Yeah. Hey, what you said that, though, on what do you think about the toilet paper thing? If you had to, like, if tomorrow, bombs were going off and you had to grab 3 things in order to survive, the shock to me is that toilet paper was number one.
Bro,
I will say that we did manage to go get, what I did is I went to Costco around when that happened, and they had the like commercial grade single ply, but I bought cases of it, so
Really?
we had it. It was not fun, but we had it. I mean, it does suck if you don't have it, but
Right.
that's just not the creature comfort that I would have thought was
Absolutely
essential.
not.
So 26-year-old, what are the 3 things you grab? If you got to go, the bomb hits tomorrow, you got to go. What's the 3 things you're getting?
Bro, if I had one of them like water filtration things that people be using online, where they grab water from the creek and then do the little bag thing and then dangle the. I don't know if that stuff really works, but if I have it, I'm grabbing it.
Okay.
If not, I'm grabbing as much water as I can.
So water filtration.
Water filtration, right? Or got my Xbox. No, I'm just kidding. No. If we had electricity, probably a generator. If I have a generator. What else am I bringing? My wife, I guess. if she'll fit in the back seat.
Yeah, well, we can assume you're bringing her.
Yeah, right,
We're
right.
taking it more
right.
materialistic.
Yeah. Man, I'm not really much of a survivalist.
What about you, Josh? Well, he's thinking on number 3.
And ammunition.
Gun, ammunition.
And whatever weapons I could carry. Because the thing is, like, I don't need water or food if I can just go,
Right.
take it from somebody.
Exactly, man. Walking Dead, that Joker.
No, seriously, I was telling
Yeah.
Josh this. There was a guy at the gym. This has been several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was in there working out pretty regular, and he always was talking about prepping. Like, it's all
Yeah.
he would come in and talk about. You
Right.
got the gym talk, and this guy was just talking about prepping. And I'm like, man, I'm just trying to do more reps over here. But he would be saying, like, he's got his water, Pontics or whatever. He's got what do you call it, the solar panels. He's
Right.
got his food. He's got cows. He's got water store, all his stuff he's got, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he kept on and on saying, and finally one day, this is after a few months of him just constantly telling me all this, he goes, you don't ever say anything about what you done for the prepping, so what are you going to do if it goes bad tomorrow? And I said, I'm going to come steal your shit.
Right.
Yeah, you just told me. I said, I'm a trained, that's all I've done my whole
Right,
life, trained how to
right.
hurt people. I've literally was SWAT team, cop, martial arts guy. I got plenty of guns.
Right.
I'm just going to come take your stuff. And he was like, his eyes got big. And it's like he hadn't thought about that. And I was like, yeah, quit telling everybody where it's at.
Right. He said, I'm going to invest into a steel door
Yeah.
now with
Yeah.
the security system.
Yeah. Yeah. I would get definitely guns and ammo. I'll just count that as one. I would get, the first place I would go is for pharmaceuticals. Because you're going to need medicine, and that's going to be currency if stuff were to collapse. So I would go raid some pharmacy,
Right.
and then I would go out in the woods and wait. And I figure maybe 2 weeks, most of the idiots will be dead,
Right.
Because they'll run around not know what to do. The cities will kill each other, and then you'll
Right.
have a few people that are either dangerous because they'll do what's necessary and
Right.
smart enough to, or maybe they had reserves and were far enough out of society to
Mm-hmm.
not get attacked. And then you just got to go from there. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I do have a gun, so I'd bring that. I appreciate you mentioning that.
Yeah.
Because I forgot about it for a second.
No, I wouldn't. I would like to think. I was literally thinking about this yesterday. I'm real concerned about I probably shouldn't follow it as much as I do, and I follow both the right and the left side on like the economy and international
Right.
politics and all this kind of stuff. So I get kind of deep into it. And my partner's worse than me. He gets really big Brian gets into like the conspiracy theories and stuff.
Right.
I don't go down that hole. But
Alex Jones.
he's all over that. But I do worry about, like, I'm not worried about necessarily me because I'm older. And, I might have a good 20, 40 years left if I'm lucky. But my kids and their kids, I'm nervous that America is going to be in a position to continue to be the superpower.
Right.
I think the dollar is being devalued. I'm really worried about the economy. And so it just makes me nervous. So jokes aside, I'm kind of nervous about that, about how the economy is going to go and what people would do. And the other thing, this is a sidebar, you don't have to comment, but like I'm also nervous that if we did get like attacked domestically, you've got dudes that are more worried about what TikTok dance they can do, and what
Right.
color their hair is and all that, which is great. And then they think that's important, and then that's not.
No. Not even close.
Yeah, you need for that kind of stuff. This is one thing I've said. This is getting me on this whole rant, and again, you don't have to agree. But I've always said you need savages sometimes. You need in society. There's a place for people that will do what is necessary. You know what I mean? And like a lot of those people are shunned nowadays, and they're considered extreme or too masculine or aggressive
Right.
or whatever. But when stuff goes bad, man, sometimes you got to meet violence with violence. you
Right.
know?
Sometimes you got to keep the balance.
Yeah. And so you can't have people that are afraid to defend what they believe in and what they care for. I saw a video today. It was somebody sent me where this couple got robbed.
Mm-hmm.
And that kills me, man. They tried to rob me in Memphis twice. It was a
Really?
mistake.
What?
Hell yeah, mistake. My point is, like, there's some people, they're just the wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those guys you
exactly.
need sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the robber will be very surprised. This man just offended himself. He's supposed to let me take it.
Yeah, I threw one of them into traffic.
Really?
Like, it's a mistake. That most people think you're going to cower in fear on stuff
Right,
like that. But
right.
some of us are just programmed differently.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's a whole big tangent.
No, I like to hear it, man. I like to hear it. I want some of that courage, you know? Maybe it'll rub off on me.
Well, I tell you, so speaking of that, a lot of it is from doing martial arts forever.
Right.
And actually fighting people. And in not just as a cop, but in training. And you do build a level of confidence to where you're comfortable. And it does take a long time, I think, to get to the level where it could be effective, but you can get to a point where you're very comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
So I always recommend that people, I mean, it's good for you too, but it does build a certain level of confidence if you're in a good school that does like real combat stuff to where,
Yeah, no, I completely agree because, 90% of the people out there, they don't know how to fight. So you already know you're, at least, even if you go to, 6 classes, you're still a decent level above everybody else on the street.
Yeah.
And if you continue on with that and perfect it, then, you're almost unstoppable to some of the people on the street.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing I would tell people. Number one is to try to be in shape. Number one is just fitness.
Right.
I've had guys that were black belts in even my system and come in, and if they're not in shape and you have somebody else who's in shape, like physically fit,
Right.
if they can weather the storm of this other trained martial artist, typically I think that's the bigger advantage. Where you really come into the skill set is when you got somebody that's in shape and knows the stuff.
Yeah.
Now there's a significant advantage in combat over somebody else that's not. But physical conditioning is very important. Most people spaz out about 30 seconds in.
Yeah.
They're good for about 30 seconds, and then the majority of the public just crap down both legs and is done.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all. It doesn't matter what happens then. What they know or not, they can't execute it because they've dumped all their adenine triphosphate, the cell's energy source, and they're done. So
Right.
So anyway, that would be number one.
What do you think's the best? I know you teach it, but what do you think is the best form of martial arts?
Well, I mean, I think you need
terms
to know.
of defending yourself.
Yeah. I think it's more. I won't say a specific system because I think all of them have merit.
Right.
I've trained in a lot of them, and I mean, obviously, I'm a little biased to Taekwondo because I've done it so long.
Right.
But Taekwondo has some weaknesses by itself. Taekwondo traditionally doesn't punch to the face. That's a huge weakness.
Yeah.
Taekwondo traditionally doesn't have grappling techniques. That's a huge weakness. For kicking, it's probably one of the best systems. But, if they catch your leg or you don't have room or they already on you, it may be weak. So I think you need to have a good striking system where you do punch to the face some. That's important. It's important. Here's why it's important to get punched in the face. If you've never been punched in the face, you don't know what it's like to get punched in the face.
Right.
And the thing is, it's not going to kill you, usually. I mean, if it does, well, now you know you got a weak chin.
Oops.
But generally, you get punched in the face pretty good, and it sucks, but it's not like the end of the world. So I think you need to be acclimated to that violence. Right. And then secondary, I think you need a grappling system. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is good. I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is typically a little weak on takedowns. They actually pull sort of from wrestling.
Right. Rear naked choke.
Yeah, I'm
gonna just start throwing things out that I heard from Joe Rogan.
That's a jiu-jitsu, back submission.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you need that. I would still say though, you need to do a system that gets you physically in shape. Because if you're not in shape, it doesn't matter what jiu-jitsu what Taekwondo, it doesn't. None of that matters. You got to be in
just
shape.
got to lay on them at that point.
Yeah, no. There was a guy we had years ago. Worked at one of these local restaurants. He was probably illegal. I don't know. They called him Popeye. And he was super roided up. Like, this dude was jacked.
Really?
Yeah, and he come in, and back then I was doing fight promotion. So I was doing MMA. I had a fight company, and we were doing MMA shows all over the place, kickboxing and MMA. Anyway, he comes in, wants to fight, wants to train, no real experience. He was so strong, though, that even very skilled guys, he could just hold them. He could literally just hold them there, and then they couldn't do anything because he's holding them. He didn't really know what to do. But he could hold him, and he was just stronger, physically stronger.
Yeah.
And then I've had guys way bigger than me that I've had to fight, and it didn't matter that I knew all this stuff.
Because if they just hold you there.
Yeah, or hit me,
right.
Or you have to try to not get hit by somebody 400 pounds. But anyway, there's levels to all of it. I think you got to do the best with what you got personally, but I think it is important to try to train. Number one would be physical fitness. Number two then would be whatever you're comfortable with. I'm long-legged, so I've always done well with Taekwondo because I got good leg reach. But I did okay with Jiu-Jitsu too. I mean, I just prefer striking. This is what
Right.
I've always done.
Because at the end of the day, something's better than nothing.
Yeah, and for me personally, my striking is better than any of the rest of it.
Yeah.
I still feel, even at 45, I still spar every Thursday, and I still feel like I can hang with just about anybody striking. I'm not saying I
Yeah.
beat them, but they're not going to just destroy me.
No.
I'll at least hang.
Right.
Grappling, I still sometimes have to think about it. There's still plenty of people that whoop me on it. So,
No, I hear you.
so you going to come train with us now?
Absolutely.
We got a school in Millington and in Covington.
Man, I
You
want
might
to.
as well come try it.
Let's do it.
Love to have you.
I would love to, man.
Yeah. I'm
That'd be
serious. We'll
fantastic.
give you some
No,
free
yeah,
lessons
for
and let
real.
you see.
I got to lose some weight some way.
In
man.
Covington, I've got John Adams, who's a world champion, and he's the head instructor there. And I teach, depends on the night, which one. And then in Millington is Vincent Whitehorn, young guy, very talented. He's on the global demo team that I coach, but he's very, very skilled, and he's the head guy down there.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like fun.
So we'll get you set up.
I would love to, man.
Cool. So you had mentioned before you were going to have. Am I meeting with you and your boss, or who?
No, I was just I was seeing if y'all had time like before this meeting or after to talk about it. But
Yeah, I could talk with you about stuff. I just thought
Yeah.
I didn't know if we were doing some.
No,
other
it
meeting
was
with him.
my boss. He's from Texas originally, so I'm just showing him around the area. Really just to meet a lot of different people, and I know you're pretty influential in the area.
I don't know that I'm influential, but
you're-
I'm here and everybody
Hey,
knows
man.
me. They don't all like
Pretty
me, but they know
influential.
me.
No, you.
One thing with me and with you'll learn with Ed too. Like I just don't care.
Right.
I
right.
care, but I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I like what I like, and I believe what I believe.
Exactly.
And I'm real open with anybody about my positions on whatever. And if they don't agree with me, I shouldn't say I don't care. It just doesn't affect me.
Right. Just go off the shoulder. It's like, okay.
But I'm very open to discussions with people that disagree with me.
Right.
I enjoy that actually when people disagree with me. I had a nice discussion with somebody over the weekend on white privilege and trans rights. We had a nice discussion. It was actually a very productive discussion.
Those
I
are the
thought.
best kind of discussions, just to, not just yell and argue or whatever, tip-tap online.
Yeah.
That doesn't get anything done,
Do you, and the job you do now, do you get to hang out with any of the reporters any?
Yeah.
You see them?
Yeah.
Really?
It's really funny just walking in, you know what I mean, on like a major weatherman and just be like, hey, what's going on, man? Good morning. Just get a cup of coffee. It's like, yeah, I've watched you growing up my entire life. And then he's just like, oh, have I met you before? I'm like, no, I've been here for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Your voice sounds exactly the same as it does on TV.
Yeah. So for some reason, as you were describing that, I wasn't thinking of a guy. I was thinking of a lady.
Oh, really?
So I'm going to let you in on a secret. I don't think I've ever
yeah.
told anybody, except my wife. So I have this. We won't call it a fetish because that's inappropriate. It's I like bank tellers.
Right.
So no, hear me out. Hear me out. I'm gonna get to my point here. Okay?
Something about a woman controlling my money. I
Yeah,
don't,
maybe that's what it is. But like, I go through back in. They don't do it anymore because they got screens. But back in the day, when you'd go through and it's a thing, I don't know what it was, but like, I always just thought these bank tellers are so attractive.
Right.
Well, I got a buddy that's like that with female reporters. I
Right.
like seeing the reporter on strong female. You know what I mean?
Right. They deepen their voice just a little bit to
I
be more
guess.
assertive.
I don't know what everybody's got their thing, right? So, but anyway, do you ever go in there and just get like, oh man, starstruck, or they're beautiful people, or
Absolutely.
anything like that?
Yeah, they got makeup stations at every corner. So they're always touching up when they're about to run up on air. But it is crazy being like, like a local, because a lot of them are like almost like local stars.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
They're
'Cause
local celebrities.
They've been on there, for
They're what I call local famous.
exactly.
Dave,
yeah, and
Dave Brown's a great example. He was known forever.
Yeah. And then like just seeing somebody like just an example like Alex Coleman or something. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, how's it going? It's like, that's crazy. And then like at any other TV station you're at, you know what I mean? Todd Demers or anybody. It's just really cool, just to see them out in the wild, It's pretty crazy.
It is cool. You probably start seeing though how they're just normal people.
Exactly.
That's
They
the
are.
biggest thing.
They are.
I try to personally not get starstruck, but I have. Josh actually saw me get starstruck when I met Chuck Norris.
You met Chuck Norris?
I did. I met Chuck.
Was that at like a Comic Con or something?
Yeah, we went to the Nashville Comic Con a year ago. Josh and I got the, what are they called? Advance ticket, fancy
VIP
tickets.
yeah.
Literally, we're in the front of the line, ran to get in front, and we're like the first two to meet Chuck Norris.
Oh, wow.
And I was very tongue-tied. Then I got to be Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodyguard
Really?
in March.
Oh.
That was also difficult
I heard that on one of your podcasts. You mentioned that.
Yeah, that was hard for me because those guys. I grew up in the '80s,
Yeah.
so '80s action movie stars is my big thing.
Yeah.
And that's the only time that I've been where it was
Starstruck.
hard. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Arnold thing was hard because I was actually functioning as security.
Yeah.
And he's right there, and I'm talking to him. And as I'm talking to him, I'm like, "This is the Terminator."
That's him right
And
there.
I'm looking in
Where's
his
the
eyes,
chopper at?
and he looks at me, and he's like, "This way." And I want to see this guy, and he's talking to me, and I'm like, "It's the
What was that?
Terminator." Yeah, that was. I did my job.
Bro,
It
I
was
don't know what I'd do. Like, mine would be like Daniel Radcliffe or something, Harry Potter, you know?
Okay, all right.
Like, because I just grew up, you know what I mean? Almost every Halloween, I would
Yeah.
have I'd want to be Harry Potter. I got red hair, so people would be telling me I'm Ron. Like, nah, man.
You don't want to be
I'm the
Weasley.
chosen one, bro. I ain't no nerd, okay?
I got it. I
Nah,
respect
but,
it.
man, it's just, I don't know what I'd do if I was his bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he needs one because he got a wand, you know what I'm saying? But,
That's generational. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Who else would you be kind of starstruck by?
gosh, who else? I grew up listening to, like, the Jonas Brothers and stuff, you know? That'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
What about you, Josh?
I've met most of them.
What?
Yeah, but which ones they're so big they starstruck you?
I mean, Chuck Norris definitely was.
Yeah.
I'd be starstruck by Chuck Norris.
This past weekend with Orlando Bloom and Andy Serkis, that was definitely because I'm such a
Because of
huge
Lord of the
Rings nerd. So anytime I've got to meet any of the Lord of the Rings actors, that's always
You
been
met
a
Andy
big deal.
Serkis?
Yeah, just
Oh
this past
my
weekend.
gosh.
Yeah, he was in San Antonio, and a super nice dude. He was like really chill.
I just gotta follow y'all around so I can just meet some people, you know?
Well, we have the Covington Comic Con coming up in August.
Yeah.
Which would be good for them to do some reporting on. Cause why, Josh?
Because we're going to have Scooby Doo. And we're bringing Scooby-Doo to Covington, the actual voice actor.
The guy,
Really?
the guy that does Scooby Doo's coming here.
No
He-
way.
Scott
he-
Ennis.
He's the voice of Scooby, Scrappy, Shaggy, and several other cartoon characters. But
Really?
he's coming. He's our main guest for the Comic Con this year.
How long has he been doing that?
So I think he's the number 2 guy to do it.
He was, to give you some idea of the years he's been doing it, he was Scooby-Doo in the Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island movie, the animated film that came out in the 90s. And he also did Scrappy-Doo in the live-action Scooby-Doo films that James Gunn did. So he's been doing it for a long time now.
Yeah, he's coming. We got Jeffrey Nodelman. He's got a star on the Disney Walk of Fame. Lead animator for Batman the Animated Series back in the day. He's coming. He's a buddy of mine.
We've got Creek Wilson.
Creek Wilson.
He's an actor. He's done voice work for Red Dead Redemption 2. And
No
he's in
way.
the TV show Twisted Metal, Preacher. He's been on a bunch of TV shows. Yeah,
Twisted
so-
Metal. I never played. That was a video game on the PlayStation.
I remember
I never played it, but it's cool how they're turning all these video games into TV shows.
Do you play? You play a lot of. You mentioned earlier you wanted to maybe code on the gaming. Do you play a lot of games?
Yeah,
Yeah. Like, what do you like?
everything. No, I love RPGs like Fallout and everything.
So, what are you playing right now?
Right now, I'm still trying to get through Starfield. You ever heard of that?
Josh, you
Starfield's
played
good.
it?
Yeah, I played through it. I just about 100%ed it with the exception of like one quest line. There's like one quest
What's the
line
one
I
you and
didn't
Justin are playing now? Helldivers?
Helldivers 2.
Helldivers?
And Helldivers 2 and Call of Duty. We're playing both of those pretty hardcore.
Playing some Warzone.
Oh yeah, I play
I'm horrible.
I play the crap out of Warzone.
So I play every night Apex Legends. I do every night.
Man.
I downloaded it for free. I play the heck out of it.
Man, I'll be sweating if I be playing some Apex Legends. I'm awful. I played Titanfall,
Okay.
which is what came out before Apex, and I was okay with that. And then you just hop on Apex, and it's like they're all jumping around.
I'm pretty good on it.
Are you?
I
Man, I'm awful.
literally every night, I try to tell my wife, usually it's once she goes to bed, because we only have one TV intentionally. And so we'll watch something together or whatever at the end of the day. And it's literally like midnight. And
Yeah.
I'll play Apex a few times. But it's after every night, it like adds up.
Yeah.
And like, so now, I usually lead the team, and I'm pretty decent at
You play with your
Apex.
friends, or you play like solo?
It's whoever. I play 3 up, whoever's in the thing.
Really?
Whoever's loaded.
Just
yeah.
randos, huh?
Yeah, it's Kickin Lawyer if anybody wants to play with me.
Oh, my
That's
gosh.
my tag.
Kicking
or
lawyer,
gamer
kicking ass on
tag.
Apex. Oh my god.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll talk and be like, "Is this a real lawyer?"
Is this a real lawyer?
My favorite is when it's like an 8-year-old. His mom's yelling at him to go to
Is
bed.
this a real lawyer?
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, and you can hear his mom in the background. I'm like, "Is your mom hot?"
Oh no! Oh no!
Hey, speaking of the generational thing, I want to ask you this question. I've asked this before.
Yeah.
I'm asking all these pervy questions.
No, bro, you good?
So who is I've talked about this before too, like if I had my crush, like forever crush. My wife and I just talked about this. Hers is George not Clooney, Matthew McConaughey. That's it, Matthew McConaughey. So mine is Denise Richards, but specifically like the 90s Denise Richards. You probably don't know who that is, but that was, to me, perfection.
Do you have like a poster of her on your wall?
Maybe. I had several posters. I don't know if I had one of her.
Yeah.
But by the time I got into 90s with her, I was kind of not being in my room as much. I was like doing stuff. So I'm going to ask who yours is. While you're thinking, Josh, who'd you say yours was?
Alexandria Daddario.
Alexandria Daddario.
She was in Baywatch, the remake, the newer one.
Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson.
Okay,
yeah.
I know you. The one with the eyes.
The one with the eyes.
Yeah, I know you.
Yeah, the eyes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think?
We're staring at the eyes, right?
Yeah, your wife may or may not watch this, but you know.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I would say for a hot minute it's been like Scarlett Johansson.
Okay, that's respectable.
Since she's been big in like Iron Man, you know what I mean? Iron Man came out in like 2008 and I was 10. You know what I'm saying?
So you're like, oh, that's it. That's the pinnacle.
Scarlett Johansson. Something about her. Yeah, and who else? Mostly Scarlett Johansson probably right now.
Nice.
And Alexandria Daddario.
Yeah,
of course.
Daddario's my girl right
man.
there.
Let me stop. No, she's cool. And God, who's the other one? Who's Katniss?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, she's all right.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Scratch that.
No, it's all right. I mean,
No,
you like who you like, brother.
Right.
I had who was it that we were talking, and well, I remember now. I won't bust him out, but he was basically saying he wants the woman to be bigger than him and more tattooed than him, and to like choke him. And I'm like, well, who fits that? Who fits that criteria? I'm like, everybody's got their own idea, I guess, though.
You ain't got none of them in no jiu-jitsu and no classes?
I don't right now.
Can't hook nobody up right now?
I haven't seen any. There are a few that would choke him, but they're probably like 400 pounds and got a short haircut, you know. So, so I mean, I don't know if I can help the dude out. Yeah, but I mean, it's always interesting to me to each his own. I was talking about this, so we just watched Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Have you watched that?
I haven't.
So I didn't want to, right? But I did, and I actually enjoyed it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I more got in. I like to read history, so it kind of got me into reading the history of like the 1800s, and more got into like how nasty it was back then. Like you watch this show and these people are like, "Oh, it's so great! I'd love to live in that." I was like, "Do you know why they dress like that? Because they were funky."
Man,
that's
the
why.
monthly shower hit different.
The reason they started wearing hair pieces was to hide the lice. That's literally why they did it. Like they were all super funky back then.
No.
But one thing that was interesting, I was reading like really what they considered attractive, and it's so funny. Like one, if you were heavy set, was impressive. It meant you had money, so you were attractive. If your teeth were messed up, like rotten, it meant you could afford sugar. And so that was attractive if you had messed up teeth. And the fans were to hide their teeth. That's why they had the fans. It wasn't to fan themselves. Anyway, it's funny how the ideals of beauty have changed, you know?
Yeah, and it's like people romanticize those times, you know?
Yeah.
And it's cool, I guess, for certain people.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if you were the top of the top of the top and you cared about your hygiene, it would have been dope. But a lot of us would probably be in poverty, you know?
Oh, yeah, the majority of us would.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are rich, they didn't have, like, running toilets.
Right.
You know?
No.
Like, and they didn't bathe daily. You didn't get to do that.
No.
So, I mean, it was probably a rough time period. That's why, like, people fuss about now. Man, I like having a toilet, you know?
Oh, I love it right now.
Running water, a toilet. We're living better than the Roman emperors did.
There's a lot of poverty, you know, everywhere and in this area and stuff. But generally, you know, if you got a running toilet, you're doing okay.
Yeah, that's good.
You know,
we at least got access to it.
Right,
we at least
exactly.
go to the gas station.
Walk to Walmart.
Blow that thing up.
Right.
You know? So
Not
if you were to pick an era to live in or something, not necessarily live in, but one that's just really interesting to you, like what is an era that you personally find interesting?
I'm gonna sound like probably a baby because y'all grew up during it, but I mean I was only born in '98, but it'd be like that late 80s,
okay,
early 90s, because it's like, you know, it's still like the analog era, you know, but it's the emergence of new technology. Like
I'll be honest, it was cool.
Yeah,
like, it was cool.
I'd want to just live there, like during.
We're very hopeful
in my current age. You know what I'm saying?
We thought the way technology was progressing, we were, we still saw sci-fi stuff. Like the '50s sci-fi stuff was still even relevant. So I remember really thinking that by now everything would be flying cars, gleaming.
That's what all the movies
towers.
showed.
Yeah. And that's what we really thought was where
Blade
we were going
Runner,
to be.
you know?
Yeah.
What was Blade Runner in 99
Well,
or something?
so let me rephrase that. It was either going to be that future or it was going to be Mad Max.
Right.
You know, right
Horrible.
now it's going to be one of the two.
Right.
That was the direction we were going.
You either got really good or everyone's going to be dead eating each other.
That's a respectful answer, though. I've never thought about that people that didn't live in the 80s might think that.
Yeah,
80s
I
were
mean, it's
cool.
just, you know, a lot of movies that, I mean, I grew up, we didn't grow up really, we were lower class, you know, food stamps and everything.
Yeah.
And I watched VHS tapes up until, you know, like 2007, 2008. You know what I mean?
Well, one of the best things about being a kid in the 80s, in my opinion, was on the weekend. In the kid world, like I'm sure, you know, my parents had bills and didn't have tons of money. They struggled with this and that. But the weekend, you got to be a kid.
Right.
And a kid, you know, when you're 10, 11, 12 in the 80s, what you would do was you would invite friends over to spend the night. You didn't have cell phones. You know, you didn't talk to them there wasn't internet chatting.
Yeah.
You would go to the movie store, the video store, and you would rent a movie together. There's a big deal to pick the movie out. That was like a big process, you know. You pick it out, hope they have it, and usually as young men, young boys, we would get some D-level horror movie because we thought it might have a boob in it.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Anyway, because you didn't have access like you
Just
do now.
one boob, not even
Man,
both.
You got to pause that boob.
What would we have done if we had both
Oh,
boobs?
I can't imagine. I mean, sometimes I was just looking for a bra line, you know.
Bro, just a little off the, you know, little shoulder, like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. So you get that, then you go get a pizza. And
Yeah.
Usually Pizza Hut pizza is what we did here. And you go and you eat your pizza, you watch your movie, and you just play together. You know, like that's what you did. You know, you didn't. There wasn't the internet. We did have Nintendo, so sometimes we played Nintendo, but it wasn't like it is now. So, and that, I mean, that was just hindsight. I have great memories. It was tons of fun doing all that.
I mean, it's I guess my early childhood was similar. You know what I mean? In that vein, like I was always out. You know, like parents would say, you know, go out when the streetlights came on. Come back in. You know, and you know, drinking water out of the water hose, stuff like that.
Good for you.
I mean, that's what I grew up doing all that kind of stuff with my buddies.
How else you gonna get ringworm?
Exactly. You got to have the ringworm, man.
Josh, what era would you want to be in, or are you interested in? I should say, not necessarily live in, but what era of time do you like?
I also like the 80s. I don't know. It would be interesting. I've always thought, just from a movie perspective, it would be interesting to have been around like in the 30s, not for obviously the Great Depression and all the terrible stuff that happened.
Late 30s Berlin. I heard that was really great.
Yeah, no, not for all that, but to get to see like, you know, the original King Kong when it premiered and people's reactions to some of those early films and kind of the foundation of cinema, and you know, when a lot of those building blocks were put in place, I just think that would be interesting to have been there and seen that all take place.
It was like magic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it is.
it was crazy.
It is magic.
Yeah,
Movie magic. That's what they always said.
I like. I mean, there's so many that I like. I obviously like Roman times. I like a lot of the ancient times. I've been reading a lot about Vikings lately. I mean, they had hard lives, but it's interesting to think about people back then because cognitively they had the same brain we have. Physiologically, they had the same brain,
Right.
but yet they thought like burning people at the stake was good when they
Just
were a
fine.
witch. You know, it's
Right.
cool. It's just weird how
Right.
we've evolved.
I mean, a little bit of
thinking.
You know, I mean, I guess it deterred people from doing bad things, doing public executions. We probably shouldn't right now.
So I just
But-
read a book. I just finished a book last month called I forget the name of the book, but it was basically this henchman in like the 1600s in Germany had a diary, a law. It was really more of a journal log of his executions. He was an executioner, and it went in a lot of detail on executions and the history of it. It's real graphic, but there was one thing that was interesting is like what was considered the honorable way to be killed was to be beheaded. But it wasn't beheading like guillotine. The guillotine wasn't out yet. It was sit in a chair and the dude would swing a sword and hopefully cut your head off.
Oh my
Sometimes he
God.
might miss and hit you the shoulder and you got to sit back up there and they do it again. That was the respectable way to go. Next level was being hung. But like women, they wouldn't hang because they thought that was disrespectful because you could see up their skirts. So women, they'd bury alive. They were
my
like,
God.
They were like, that's better. Let's do that. So then around the 1613, they were like, you know what? That's really not the best way to kill a lady. That's unethical. So now what we're going to do is drown them to death. We're just going to hold them under and drown them because they couldn't see them kicking and screaming. When they were burying them alive, they could see them kicking and screaming. And it's very graphic. But anyway, the reason I say all that is like, I mean, that was not very long ago.
No.
And people were
In the
like,
grand
this is
scheme of
good.
things.
This is good.
This is A-okay. Just
let's do this.
The general consensus was that is just another Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
Where'd Cheryl go? They drowned her. Damn,
Yeah.
what'd she do? Steal some bread.
Yeah, she was hungry.
Right, she was really hungry, and now she never will be again.
No, she's not hungry.
Tummy's full.
More bread
Of
for
worms.
everybody else.
Right.
Well, on that note, I think we'll tie it up.
All right.
If you want people to look you up or get information on the ads that they're interested in any of that, how they find you?
I mean, they can get me on LinkedIn, Austin Kiernan, Kiernan.
Cool.
You can just hit me up on there, direct message. I'll get your marketing needs.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll get you out there.
I appreciate you taking time to talk with
Well,
me.
of course.
I enjoyed talking with you. I know I talk about randomness, but anyway.
I love randomness.
Hope you like
That's
it.
my whole personality.
Good.
I don't know what I'm going to say next.
Well, then we'll stop.
All right.
And thank you guys for watching. As you see, we got our lower thirds there. Make sure you follow us on all the stuff. If you haven't already, download Inside My Head by N.A. the Band. Those guys are performing, and it's a guy named, what's the whirly guy's name? The country music singer guy?
I don't know.
They got this country music singer guy singing at the thing here in Covington. Anyway, Michelle Allen is your go-to if you're going to buy, sell, rent, lease real estate. Make sure you check her out. Good local contact, too. Mason's High Octane Martial Arts. We've been open since '93. Happy to come teach you to throw people in the street when they're trying to mug you. Just visit masonsmartialarts.com. Jam Books and Records is located on the square in Covington. New and used books and records, constantly getting new stock in. Come check out what we got there. And then last but not least, if you need help with your own marketing, online branding, commercials, whatever, Josh will help you. Visit masonitemarketing.com. So thank you guys for watching. We'll hopefully have another one of these here pretty soon. Hope you have a good rest of your week and keep kicking. Thanks for watching, guys. Just remember that this is not legal advice or investment advice or business advice. This is for fun and entertainment purposes only.